More Twitter podcasts for some, the latest from our daily newsletter at podnews.net. Twitter's podcast player is now rolling out to Twitter Blue members, on iOS only for now though. Twitter Blue, the company's premium service, is only available in 4 countries: the US, Canada, Australia and New Zealand. Fighting for survival, Gaana, a music and podcast app in India, has closed for free users. The move comes after a failed merger. The service has 185 million monthly users, but fewer than 1% of Indian audio users pay a subscription. Spotify's Megaphone, a podcast hosting company, was down again for 2 hours yesterday. It was previously down on September the 2nd. In early August, and in May, it broke for 9 hours. Gramophone, a live music startup, has announced integration with TikTok. The tool allows creators to stream high-quality live performances and listening parties straight from their studio to their TikTok followers, we're told. Podcast criticism exists, says Galen Beebe. She's launched a new Twitter account, Podcast Critics, posting podcast criticism in any format. Podcast Day 24, the planet's podcasting conference, is less than a month away. We've got a new code. It's Pod N1215. That's Pod N1215. It'll give you tickets at around half price. Events are in Sydney, London and New York on Tuesday, October the 4th. You also get to watch the other 2 venues for free online. A new podcast platform, Heard FM, is looking for podcasts to promote in its inaugural creator program. You've until September the 30th. In Nigeria, The Guardian looks at podcasting and the Banana Island Living podcast. Justin Jackson, a co-founder of podcast hosting company Transistor, did an Ask Me Anything on Reddit, a social media platform. Fun fact, his username is Spanky Mustard, because of course it is. Salt and Some Friends have partnered to unveil a new podcast slate to tackle what the companies describe as a lack of diversity in podcasting and entertainment. Public radio broadcaster and podcast publisher NPR has signed with Veritonic for attribution and brand lift solutions. King Charles III apparently wants Meghan Markle to stop her Spotify podcast, according to OK Magazine, though you should also know that research in 2010 showed that only 14% of stories in OK Magazine were actually true. Markle has, though, paused releases of the show as a mark of respect. What's going on with Audio Boom's shareholders? Investor Nick Candy sold Aquaverse a lot of shares in 2021. Aquaverse is owned by controversial entrepreneur Robert Bonnier and is connected to All Active Asset Capital. They made an offer to buy Audio Boom in July this year, but later withdrew the offer. Aquaverse sold a third of its shares, and Candy accused Bonnier of fraud, applying in court for his assets to be frozen. Bonnier is now claiming £150 million in damages. Can't you all get along? And happy birthday to Buzzsprout, which turned 13 years old on September the 1st. And in People News, iHeartMedia has named Uta Knublane as the Chief Product Officer for iHeartRadio. She probably pronounces her name completely differently to that. She was promoted from Executive Vice President of iHeartRadio's flagship products and user experience, and she'll report to Colonel Byrne. She replaces Chris Williams. And in Canada, Julie Adam has left Rogers Sports and Media. She'd worked for the company for almost 24 years. It means a new boss for the as-yet announced new head of Pacific Content. They'll be reporting to Janice Smith, the VP of Sales. And in podcast news, all-female podcast company Adlist Media has added Struggle Care to the company's podcast roster. The podcast, hosted by KC Davis, shares a revolutionary approach to self and home care for those dealing with mental health, physical illness, and hard seasons of life. Scaled, the Latino Business Story, is the first business podcast from LWC Studios, produced for the Latino Business Action Network. The show tells the stories of Latino entrepreneurs and their journeys to scaling their businesses to millions in annual revenue. Compelled, a show focused on abnormal stories from modern-day Christians, has returned with its 5th season. Previous guests include a man sentenced to 500 years in prison, an assassination survivor, and the widow of the commander of US Space Shuttle Columbia. And Futurespectives has published its second season. The show, produced by Brand Audio, features exclusive conversations with an illustrious lineup of Hollywood A-listers, with host Gabby Sanderson introducing audiences to fresh perspectives on the future of film, culture and society. It was made with Locarno Film Festival and UBS. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.